two different colors of yarn today that I will be showing you how to make each of these squares. This is tropical pink, just to show you. I'm not actually using this color in my blanket, but I thought it would be a nice fun color to get things going. And then my neutral color that I will be going along each square with is the color linen. So today is January 7th. The average temperature is not complete until midnight this evening, so I have to wait until then to be able to do my square for the day. But I have all of the rest of my squares completed for the beginning of my blanket, the first row having two blank ones, as you see here. And then the first through the third of the month fell in my blue range. And then the fourth through the sixth fell in my purple range. So I've already got some different colors going, and I think that it's going to look pretty neat so far. I love the variable of not knowing what color you're going to be working with each day. I've got my colored yarn in tropical pink, and I've got my size I 5.5 millimeter hook. I like to start off with a magic ring. You could just chain 3, connect, and then go make your 12 double crochets in the center of that. It's no problem. I like this. I think it's a little more seamless. So you've got the end of your yarn. I'm right-handed, so this is how I find things to be the easiest when making a magic loop. I take that yarn, I've got pen all over my fingers for making that chart a little bit ago, wrap it around my 2 fingers. 1 and 2. Hold that in there. Take that first loop, cross it over the second, and then do it again. First loop over the second. You're going to have this little piece in here. That's where you're going to want to insert your hook, and then take the yarn that is coming out of your skein. I like to cross it over so that I can hold it still with my thumb. Come under and pull it through that little split between 2 strands of yarn that you've created. So that is your magic loop. Again, like always, well, the loop on your hook does not count as anything. We are doing double crochets, so we're going to chain 2. So 1 and 2. Once I get that in there, I don't feel like I have to hold the yarn so crazy anymore. That's just to keep things in place while you're getting that loop started. So we've got that loop, we've got this little tail hanging over here. Make sure that does not come out of position, because then things will not cinch up so nicely whenever you get this first round completed. So we're going to do 12 double crochets into this. I do not like to count the chain as a stitch. That is personal preference. If you are comfortable doing it that way, by all means go ahead. I just think it looks nicer when you don't count the chain as a stitch. So a double crochet, we're going to yarn over, go through our loop, pull up another loop. You've got 3 loops on your hook there. You're going to yarn over, we're going to pull through 2 of those. You're left with 2 more stitches on your hook. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through those remaining 2 loops. And that is 1 double crochet. Yarn over, through, pull through. 3 loops, pull through 2, lost my tension, and pull through 2 again. 2 double crochets there in your magic loop. I'm going to go ahead and complete 10 more of those to get to our 12, and I will come back. We've got our 12 stitches in this crazy looking thing. Now, it's called the magic loop for a reason. You pull that tail, tuck it in behind. We're going to finish up our first round by slip stitching into our first stitch. The tops of your stitches all have 2 loops. You can see here. See, this is the top of our first stitch. 1 loop on the side, 2nd loop on the other side. All of them are like that. You want to make sure you catch both loops as you're coming through. So we're going to insert our hook into the top of our first stitch. Just pull our yarn through and then pull through again, and that is going to complete our first round. Now you want to make sure you get this tail nice and snug in there so we don't have any issues with unraveling, which I have in the past. So learn from my mistakes and do this with me. Start our second round by chaining 2. Again, I do not like to count that as a stitch. So right here, you can see, we've got our chain here. We've got this first stitch right here, the one that we just slip stitched into. We don't want any gaps, so we're going to go into that stitch. Now before we yarn over, we're going to flip over, take that tail, and lay it across the top of those stitches so that we kind of secure that in place. And then we're going to yarn over, and we're going to double crochet. Now in that same loop, we're going to double crochet again because this second round is going to have 24 stitches. So that means you have to put 2 in each of the 12 stitches from our first round. I'm going to keep that tail in there. Second stitch, I'll put 2 in here. That will bring me to 4 stitches. And then I'm going to do 5 and 6. Now you've got 6 stitches there carrying your tail in place. You can see on the back, it's not there, it's snug in place underneath the stitches of your second round. So we can drop that off, get that little guy out of our way. 6 stitches is more than enough to hold it in place. And then we're just going to continue along, 2 stitches in each one until we get to 24. I'm going to go ahead and finish that up and come right back and show you what to do next. Okay, we're going to finish this up here. I need 1 more stitch. Brings us to 24. Same thing we did when ending the first round is slip stitch, catch both loops into the first stitch that we've completed. And then we've got 2 nice concentric rings. We're going to do 1 more, our third round in this color, starting off the same way. We're going to chain 3, and then we're going to double crochet into that same stitch. Now at the end of our third round we're going to have 36 stitches. So instead of doing 2 double crochet in each round as we did previously, we're going to do 1, and then in the next stitch we'll do 2, and then we'll do 1, and then we'll do 2. So let's see, we've got 1 there, not counting the chain as our first stitch, and then in the next stitch I'm going to place 2, and then 1, and then 2. So I've got 6 stitches so far. You can see the difference in where you've placed 1 versus where you've placed 2, because the 2 makes it look like a little V. So if you end up getting lost, if you don't think that you have put enough stitches in, if things just aren't coming out at the end to 36, then go back and you can count them. So I've got 1, and then a little V, that's 2, and then 1 and 2. So I'll meet you back here once I get those stitches in, and the fourth round is going to be interesting. Okay, coming up on the end of our round, I've got 2 stitches left. I've got 33 stitches so far in my third round, so then I need to go in and do 34, 35, and 36. Now, we're going to finish this round off a little differently because we are changing colors. This is the way I like to do things. If you know another way and you're more comfortable doing it that way, go right ahead. So we are going to insert our hook into the first stitch as we have done previously. But now, instead of pulling that pink yarn through with a slip stitch, I'm going to pull my other yarn through instead. So, oops, out of frame. I like to grab my yarn about 3 to 4 inches from the tail, just to give you something to work with. And we're going to pull that through both of those loops. Take your pink yarn, pull that nice and tight. Now lay this down for a second. And then I like to cut my pink yarn off right about the same length as that other tail. Makes things easier for sewing them in. Snip that off. We are done with that. And then like we did whenever we finished round 1 and we were starting round 2, we're going to tuck those tails in. Make them nice and snug. So don't tug on that tail too much. The white one, or off-white, it's called linen. But make sure you give that pink one a good tug because that's going to make things nice and pretty by the time we finish this up. Instead of chaining 3, we're only chaining 1. Then we're going to go into that same stitch and single crochet. So a single crochet is no yarn over. We're going to leave that. And we're going to insert our hook, pull through, you got 2 loops, pull through both. Again, that is insert your hook, pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull through both loops. Okay, there we go. We've got our 3 single crochets. Next is a half double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull through. We've got 3 loops on there just like you would with a double crochet. Everything up until this point has been the exact same as a double crochet, but this is only half a double crochet. Instead of pulling through 2 loops and then 2 again, we are going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And that completes that stitch. We can get those tails out of the way. We'll worry about them again later. 4 stitches, that is secure, it's not going anywhere. So now, in our next stitch, this is going to be the most interesting part. This is going to be our corner. We are going to do 2 double crochets in that stitch, and then we're going to chain 2, and then in that very same stitch we are going to do 2 more double crochets. And just like before we got to our corner, after our corner is going to be a half double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, and pull through all 3. And that is your first corner. We're going to continue along here. We're going to do 6 single crochets. I started the round off on only 3 because I think that it lays better if you start it in the middle of one of your sides versus starting it directly in the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then after our 6, we're going to go ahead and do that sequence how we did for a corner. Half double crochet, and then all in the same stitch here are 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets. So continue along, do your half double, and then do 6 single crochets, do another half double crochet, and then do the sequence like we did for the corner. So I will meet you back here whenever we are about to finish up, and we will go on to round 5. Wasn't planning on doing this, but here I'm going to show you how to fix a mistake. I realized that after I did my first corner, coming in here, I only did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets before doing that half double. So, not a problem at all. We're going to pull out our yarn the whole way back to where we lost count. And that's what's nice about crochet, is you can easily fix your mistakes. So get that next single crochet in there. That brings me to 6, and then we're going to finish this up, and I'll show you this time how to finish up that round and start round 5. Alright, problem solved. I've done my corner, I've done my half double crochet. We've got 3 stitches left. that will be your remaining 3 single crochets along that final side. Find your first one. I know it looks a little different here with that first stitch from where we joined our second color, but make sure that you're looking at the stitches here. See, there's a V that's wearing a little hat. That is a single crochet. So make sure you find the very first one and kind of ignore this little spot that we've got going on right here. See along the top, catch those 2 loops, and then slip stitch to join that round. I'm going to show you a comparison here between what 4 rounds looks like versus 5. It makes the square a little bigger, kind of evens out anything that may be a little off whenever using different stitches in one round between the singles, the halves, and the doubles. Just makes things a little nicer, and I think it will cause the entire blanket to really come together by using that one color yarn throughout each of your squares with having the colored circle in the middle. So with our 5th and final round, we are going to chain 2 to start off with. This entire round is going to be done in double crochets. So you just double crochet around in each of your stitches. The only thing that will be different is when we get to the corners. I'm going to do one more in that stitch there. Along your first half of the side, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Crocheting into 3 single crochets, 1 double, and then 2, or 1 half double, and then 2 doubles. 6. You come to this chain loop from where you created the corner in round 4. We are going to double crochet into the chain space. So just like you would a normal double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, not into the chain stitch itself. So into the loop, pull through 2, and then through 2 again. So in order to continue along with that corner, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to double crochet into the chain space one more time. That's going to bring us around to our next side. Then we're going to double crochet along the entire side and do the same thing in that corner as we just did. So continue along. You should have 12 double crochets into each of these stitches with 2 more and a chain space in between in each of your corners. We're just going to keep on going. Should really be getting the hang of these double crochets by now. It's been the majority of our stitches. Keep on practicing. You will acquire the muscle memory for those stitches, and you won't even have to think about it anymore. You can come up with a little song, you know, yarn over, through, pull through 2, and 2 again. You know, make things fun for yourself, because I know that the learning process can be a little frustrating. We've all been there. If you are a veteran crocheter and just doing this in order to create your own temperature blanket along with me, then all the better. So we are around here to our next corner. Double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet all into the chain space, not the original chains themselves. Just really causes that loop to just give you a nice hole. If a hole in your crocheting is nice, it just makes things really come together. And whenever we get to the point where we have enough squares to make up a few rows, all of those holes are going to line up diagonally, and I think that's going to add a really nice effect to the finished product. So I'm going to continue along, finish this off, and we're going to slip stitch to join, and then in my next video I will show you what to do with all those yarn tails, because we can see on the back we've got a lot of stuff going on and we don't want all those. So I will see you soon.